What's up, nerds? So as the title of the video would suggest, we're going to be going over a zero cycle for Memory of Chaos 12 Side 1 because I've been really busy, but I finally got around to doing it. So let's go ahead and get into this. I will be doing commentary over the entire run. That way you guys know what I did in order to be able to get it done. And there is a little bit of RNG in the second half, and there is one thing you need to remember to do in the first part. That way you can just make sure that you're breaking with the right character during your burst phases. All right, let's keep moving. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into this here. As you can see, I was too stupid to hit record before showing you the techniques, but come on, it's not rocket scientist. You use Ron May's, you use Sparkles, and then you use Acheron's because Acheron's starts battle, so you have to use hers last. Now, this first part here with Pela doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but it kinda is. You want Acheron to be the one that breaks the toughness bars of enemies because it will usually yield you a lot more damage than breaking the toughness bar with Pela, right? And because he has ice weakness, this elite in the middle, if we pump too much into him with Pela and Ron May, you might accidentally break him with the wrong character. So we are going to actually switch to the elite on the left, and we're going to pump with the skills so that we can get more energy onto our Pela. Now, this is really important because you want to defense shred as early as possible with your Pela because it's never going to run out after that because we're just going to keep popping that off just to get the debuff, just so that we can build stacks on Acheron. Now, you'll see that after Acheron's use of her skill here, we are going to get her ultimate, but we're going to wait because we still haven't used Ron May's ult. We still haven't used Sparkle's ult. We still haven't used Pela's ult, and all of those are increased damage for Acheron's ult because we get all of those buffs. So we're going to wait this time around in order to do that. In the future, you'll see that we'll kind of have to skip out on that just so that we can get the clear. But we'll get to that point in just a second here. So obviously, you see that we're going to pump into the center elite now to bring down his toughness bar just enough to let Acheron finish the job. We'll let Ron May use her ult. And now that we have Pela, we're going to now start skilling into this elite in the middle. The reason why is because, well, for one, Pela has a dispel attached to her skill. So we can just, this ability that this homeboy in the center has, we can just get rid of that. Now, we don't really care during this run because we're going to clear it so fast, it doesn't really matter. But some of you out there might, you know, take this information and use it for yourself, but you might not get zero cycles out of it. So you might want to use this dispel. That way you just don't have to deal with homeboy actually healing off of his ability. Now we're going to get Pela's ult, right? Now we're going to get Sparkle's ult after we use Sparkle's skill. So we use Sparkle's skill on Acheron, duh. And then we immediately use Sparkle's skill, giving us more fire power through our buffs. And we also end up getting more skill points, right? So now we can pop Acheron's ult. And this is going to be some nice, juicy, some really big, fat, juicy numbers. We're going to crack over 1 million damage on this ult. Watch this. Now, this elite on the left has all the stacks. You're going to want to pump that guy. He basically has a target on his head. It auto-locked onto him. So let's go ahead and just make sure we're on that elite on the left. And then let's ride, baby. Let's, yeah. 1 million. What? Casual 1.2 million damage right there. Sweet. All right, and it almost defeated everything on the board. All we have to do now is finish off this elite with Acheron's skill. That's actually kind of a good thing. The reason why is because we'll get more stacks with Acheron for having done so. As you may have noticed, we just popped Acheron's ult, and we already have 4 stacks. That's because we overcapped Acheron's stacks. You can overcap a little bit with Acheron. I think there is a limit to this, right? But you can overcap with Acheron to a certain degree. We also got a bunch of debuffs from the Trotter, who when he dies, he debuffs. You see all these DOTs stacking onto this elite right here. And when you break toughness bars of enemies, those are all debuffs, etc., etc. Just be aware that Acheron only gets 1 stack per action unless otherwise specified through an Eidolon or through like her signature light cone, etc., etc. And full disclosure, I do have Acheron's signature light cone. You may have noticed that I've been gaining 1 extra stack per skill usage, but you don't need Eidolons or her signature in order to be able to do what you see here. So again, we get some extra stacks out of this because the elite didn't actually die. That was actually a good thing. And as you can see, we are still zero cycling here. Now, another thing that you may have noticed, Acheron has an ability that you saw go off right there. Because it depleted the weakness bar of that Trotter, we went from 7 stacks to 8 stacks. There you go. Boom. There you go. Because when you break the weakness bar of or toughness bar of an enemy, that technically will apply a DOT. DOTs are also debuffs. So now we can pop a skill into Young King over here with our Pela. You'll notice unfortunately, we didn't get the ult with the Pela, which is fine. We still have buffs from Ron May and all this other stuff going on. So we are going to pop this ult when we get the chance to do it. Because as you can see from the action bar on the left, we're going to get to use another ultimate with our Acheron because we're going to have another use of Sparkle, which will give us another Acheron turn. So let's go ahead and keep rocking right here, right now. So we get the buffs, we get the advance forward with Acheron. We're going to get the ultimate. It's only 1 enemy on the field, or 2 enemies on the field right now, so it's not going to be as big of a juicy number. But as you can see, we almost took him all the way down past 50%. So once we get the defense shred with Pela, it's blatantly obvious we're going to be able to defeat this guy on the next Acheron ult. So we skill into Homeboy. He takes those DOTs. And this part is where I get really, really lucky. I don't know if you guys have noticed this or not, but this dude has been hyper-focusing in on my Acheron. And I almost did not get this clear this time around because he's beating the crap out of my Acheron. I don't know what that's about. So I get very, very lucky here. He starts attacking everybody else instead of Acheron, and that was the greatest thing that could have ever possibly happened. As you can see, Ron Maze still doesn't need to use her skill because we're clearing it so fast. Now, Ayla can finally use her defense shred. This is a great moment. We get the defense shred, right? We get all those DOTs cracking off. Now we're going to get Sparkle's skill as soon as we use another one of Pela's skills. Now, it's not really that important to use Pela's skill or not. I pause here. You can see me not attacking because I'm sitting here like there's no way this asshole is going to let me live. He's totally going to defeat my Acheron, right? But I get lucky and he doesn't attack the Acheron. And it doesn't matter. We're going to use this skill with Sparkle. As you can see here, right? We have to use one skill with Acheron before we can use the ult. After we use the skill, Homeboy goes down to 16%, okay? So no, Signature Light Cone is not what gets this done. We are going to obliterate this dude. We are going to overkill this guy. It's not Eidolons, it's not Signature Light Cone that's doing this. What's doing all of this is team composition and combat awareness. You know what's doing this? Ron May, Sparkle, and Pela. That's what makes this possible. Not no stupid Eidolons or no Signature Light Cone. It's literally the team composition and the buffs from the supports. Supports. So as you can see, we are going to absolutely destroy this guy. Look at this. 1.54 million damage. An unnecessary amount of damage needed to defeat him. Homeboy was at 0. Homeboy was at 0 before we dealt him an extra million damage. So no, you can totally do this at E0. I will admit it's harder to do. It's not exactly super easy. You're going to have well-built teams. You're going to have well-built characters. You're going to have like some pretty decent relic substats, etc., to be able to get this done. But you can do this at E0. It just will, I'll be honest, probably take some resets. The first time I got this clear, it only took me like 1 or 2 tries, but I'm an idiot and I wasn't recording. I wasn't necessarily planning to, but I was like, you know what? Let me record that. And so I went back in, and then it took me like 3 or 4 tries because he kept hyper focusing on my Acheron. I don't know why. Her taunt value is not even that high as far as I know. So that was just super weird. So as I said, what makes this really possible are the supports. Those are the true stars of the show. It's not even necessarily Acheron. It's truly the supports. Now this Pela has a decent amount of speed so that when she's running Sprightly Von Walk, she ends up getting that 40% action advance forward so that she's the first character to act so that she can immediately start debuffing enemies and get her ultimate active as soon as possible. I'm running Resolution Shines as Pearls of Sweat. It has a low base chance because unfortunately I only have Super Ambition 2. This Light Cone is what helps me debuff no matter what I do with Pela, and I get the guarantee because I have such high effect hit rate on my Pela. What is that? 69? Nice. 0.7%. And that's way more than I actually need considering I have 70% base chance. You need more than 100, but you only need like 120 or so percent to be able to pretty much guarantee you get it every time. I got like, what is that? 140%? That's too much. I have way too much. And I have 124.4% energy regen rate so that we can get that ultimate going off with Pela as often as possible. Now, this Sparkle here, we're running, what is this, Past and Future, so that we can give the acting character that she gives her buffs to even more buffs. And obviously, you want this at Super Imposition 5 because it's from the the Forgotten Hall shop, and you can take this to Super Imposition 5 really, really easily. This is basically really, really good on Sparkle and on Bronya. Now, I'm running Rainbow Gear on the Sparkle because all I care about is crit damage and speed, and wait a minute. Actually, I'm pretty sure some of this gear isn't even the right gear. That's the problem with running Rainbow Gear. Sometimes you screw up and you're wearing the wrong stuff. Anyways, let's move on to the next character. Ron May is going to be, obviously we have the 160. She'll give herself 20 break effect. She's getting a ton of break effect, ton of buffs, a high energy regen rate. She's, what is this? This is a mid-speed Ron May. I don't care. Like, we were clearing so fast, it doesn't matter whether she's fast or whether she's slow. She's going to have the buffs active. But this Ron May is actually built for skill point generation. And as you can see with the energy regeneration rate we have, I still get to have my buffs active no matter what I do. This Ron May is a skill point engine and buff engine. No matter where she goes, she gets the job done. Now, you're probably wondering about I guess you could say the star of the show. It really is the supports that are the star of the show, but you're probably wondering what's going on with this Acheron. So, as you can see, my Acheron stats are not that good, right? My crit damage could be definitely higher. My crit rate is dog shit. And part of why is because, full disclosure, I did accidentally activate my Eidolons because I was drunk. I was supposed to shoot this video before I activated the Eidolons, but I was pulling Acheron on stream, and I got drunk because we played a drinking game, and I accidentally got super excited and activated these. Because I get 18% crit rate when I attack debuffed enemies, that's why my crit rate is so low. Because actually, it's not 64 point whatever percent, it's more like 83% or whatever, because I get this buff whenever I'm in combat attacking debuffed enemies. As you can see from the Eidolon 2 here, what makes this so good isn't even part 1. Part 1, this Abyss buff here, this is actually increased damage. It is a pretty good one, but it's not necessarily what makes this all happen. What makes this happen is the support. Now, I will say, the best part of this Eidolon 2 is actually the second part. When this unit's turn starts, it gains 1 point of Slash Dream and inflicts 1 stack of Crimson Knot on the enemy with the most Crimson Knot stacks. The reason why this is so good is it makes it more comfortable to play the character. It's easier to build those stacks. You don't have to think about it as hard, synchronize combat as much, but it's not so powerful. It's not Eidolon 6. Eidolon 6 is absolutely insane. I don't know if you guys have read this. This is absolutely nuts. This is unnecessary. You do not need this. But I pulled the Eidolon 2 so that I still, you don't have to think very hard about it, but you can still enjoy combat and still have fun in the game without feeling way too overpowered. Eidolon 2, honestly, is mostly for comfort. It really isn't necessary. I've been saying this since Acheron's kit was first ever shown to us. You do not need Eidolon 2, or 1, or her signature light cone. She totally functions really, really well. Top tier, best DPS in the entire game at E0. But I wanted to give you guys full disclosure that I do have her signature light cone and those Eidolons. Yeah, I know, my run's invalid. This entire video is just clickbait. Dude's a freaking whale. Yeah, I don't care. Shut up. I never spent any money in this game until Acheron finally came out, and I decided to finally give myself something fun and cool, right? What does Beyonce always say? If you like her, then you should have put a ring on it. If you like her, then you should have put a ring on it, okay? So here's the ring right here. It's called her signature light cone. It's really, really darn good. and it allows you to build an extra stack every single time she attacks. It also gives you increased damage in more than one way, gives you some crit damage, etc., etc. This is like this is a really beautiful diamond ring you can put on your Acheron if you really do like her. Anyways, like I said, run Invalid, right? Because I actually decided to invest into a character. I'm sure Dreamy's probably calling me like a mid content creator in their Discord because my Acheron's unrelatable. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this, I'll see you guys in the next one. Let me know if you guys actually want to see more, like, you know, combat, like demonstrations, whatever, with Acheron before Adventuring comes out. There's still a little bit of time to do that. So let me know if you're interested in maybe some other team compositions that run really well with Acheron and etc., etc. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.